Good morning, everybody. We are back to it. Trying out some new things today. See if we can actually find a way to get on Instagram Live on top of everything else. So let's see if this is actually working here. Maybe, maybe not. We will see. Looks like that's going to be a no-go today. Not going to play around with that much longer. All right. Here we are, Tuesday. Let's see what we got. Okay. U.S. oil. Let's check out tip ranks, see what's going on over there. Went on up 60,000 out of 173. So these bars, guys, show the portfolio gain, average tip ranks, best performing tip ranks, and the S&P. So best performing tip ranks is the next one down, then the average portfolio, then S&P. So this is the first month is I was entering everything that I had entered all the way back to January. So May is when we started using the tool. Good morning, Will. January is when we started using, or May is when we started using the tool. January is when we actually started the portfolio. So we entered everything in from January to May. In here, this is why we see this dip here. Here, just a sideways month, and then every month since we've beat S&P and we've beaten the best analysts on tip rank. So far, I'm pretty pleased with the direction we're going in here. we'll see how we finish out the year. If I could finish top 10,000 on this, it'd be kind of cool by the end of the year. But that's going to really depend on how ACX performs. See what's going on pre-market here. Ocugen. Okay, so AstraZeneca has initiated their phase 1 clinical trial, combination of two antibodies in development for the prevention and treatment of COVID. Trial, which will include 48 participants in UK. What's up, GXO? Yeah, and that's kind of what we're about. Well, it's just actually teaching people how to learn. Less about actually showing people plays and more about teaching you guys how to learn, teaching you guys what actually goes into looking for plays. So one of the best things that you can start with is start with what you understand. What businesses do you know? What industries do you know? Either as a consumer or professionally, as in where do you work? What do you do? Start there, because that's where you're going to be most familiar. That's where you're going to understand what's going on. For me, I trade in biopharma. I've spent the past, and it's August now, 8 months just completely breaking down that industry, understanding medical reports, reading all of that for hours and hours every day. So for most people, I recommend that you work where you know. That's going to leave you probably in the tech sector, if not the consumer staples sector. But trade what you know would be a great way to start. University of Hong Kong approved reinfection. Okay, so the risk here with this finding in Hong Kong that you can be reinfected with COVID is that a vaccine will not work in this circumstance. Now, everybody will say, well, RNA versus DNA, and the RNA makes it so that any mutation or variant strain can still be addressed with the vaccine. As long as it's an RNA vaccine, I'm not exactly all in on RNA vaccines. That's an unproven theory. That's technically what they're supposed to do, but we don't know that they'll actually do that. Above and beyond that, I've been for a while saying that this is going to be treated a lot more like the flu. There will never be a cure. There won't be a here you take this shot and then you'll never get this again. COVID is going to be around. Period. Swine flu is still around. And bird flu is still around. They're not gone. We didn't eliminate them. They're still here. Vaccines don't. These vaccines, anyways, for these don't eliminate them from existence. So, herd immunity paired with treatment paired with prevention, general sanitization is going to be the way to go. But these here are all your vaccine companies. I don't know that it actually dings them if they find that reinfection is a thing. Also, the other thing that they didn't, well, they said it here, but it doesn't, exactly why you trade tech. This man first contracted COVID in Hong Kong and then contracted one in Spain. And we already know that those are variant strains. So while he may have antibodies against the strain from Asia, he does not have antibodies against the strain from Spain or Europe. And I bet you if he came over to Brazil or the US, he could possibly contract it a third time, as there's a variant strain here as well. I think they've analyzed up to 8 now, 8 different strains going on around the world. So, oh, you work for AstraZeneca. Yeah, if you worked in biomedical, then you can definitely do that, but just start breaking down medical reports and start reading those medical reports and make that a thing. Um, okay, the U.S. Trade Representative looks like it's still a go. Asian markets are mixed on that news. Monday's testimony seemed to forecast. Epic does not get relief to get Fortnite back in the App Store. However, she also orders Apple not to block the development and distribution of Unreal Engine. I mean, this is a crucial battle for Apple. They have to fight this fight because what Fortnite has done here in not only allowing but encouraging people to pay outside of the Apple Store is they're directly threatening the App Store's bottom line. And Apple has had such a stranglehold on that, right? How fast will Robinhood execute an options trade? So what Robinhood will do is they will put your options trade into queue. So it's as quickly as somebody will buy it, you're going to go into queue, and you'll see how it gets filled. So I mean, you won't really notice the difference one way or the other. We're talking thousands of a second compared to other platforms. I personally do my options trading on Interactive Brokers. I don't use Robinhood now. Robinhood's not, as far as I know, not currently available to Canadian traders. I believe it's still only in the US. So we don't do a $0 commission in Canada. Um, I use Interactive Brokers for my options trading. I prefer to have a prime broker, just in the event that there are any errors, crashes, etc., that the software doesn't work. There has been issues in the past with Robinhood going down, Robinhood having technical issues, Robinhood providing false balances, false margins, not updating correctly, and there's been very little done to actually compensate the portfolios that were affected. Whereas Interactive Brokers has been phenomenal about that. So yeah, Wealthsimple is an option in Canada. It's not great. As far as I know, there's no options trading on Wealthsimple. It's straight equity, and it's very restricted as to what you can get your hands on. So it's pretty tough. Yeah, but uh, guys, I am a huge proponent. My options portfolio as a whole is probably about no. I mean, I can just put it in. Yeah, so it's about 5% of my entire portfolio is options. The rest is in equity, guys. I Equity is a much for me, it's a much better vehicle. I prefer to have my holdings in that um in equity, knowing that irregardless of date and strike that I set for myself as a forecast, um if it doesn't meet that, I'm still holding something of value. Whereas with the options, if you get your timing wrong on your options, you're holding dust. It's worth nothing. You really have to have timing as a major consideration if you're going to be in that game. And um, well, I don't mind having a portion of my portfolio in there to be completely in an options portfolio. You don't have anything anywhere else. In my opinion, I would never give you guys financial advice, but in my opinion, I would never do that. So it depends on the sector, bow and arrow. For me, I don't actually throw out tickers. What we do is we evaluate the entire market and see what's happening everywhere. So, I mean, if you're looking at today, I'm not making a suggestion on any of these, but these are the top movers early market. So this is what's happening already before the market's open. So pre-market, we're seeing Vivo Power is up 30% already. Ocugen's up 22. Real Network is up 17. These are all sub $8 stocks, right? These are pretty cheap stocks, and they're already showing volume and movement pre-market. So that may be something to consider. I personally have played Ocugen in the past and taken a win on it. It's a low cost, low float bio stock. Um, but yeah, what I'd rather have you guys learning is how to actually break down where do I find plays, how do I go about finding the plays, and that starts with the news feeds in a big way. Um, Head over here and see what's going on. Recently trending. So Dallas Stars, Colorado Avalanche. So sports are trending again. Um, Hurricane Laura. So that's something to consider. There are plays that can be made with Hurricane Laura. iPhone 12. There's plays that can be made with iPhone 12. Zoom outage is another one. NBA 2K21 is another one. So what you do, guys, when you see these top tens and you start to identify those things. So how is Hurricane Laura play? Okay, so what you do is you head over here, Hurricane Laura, right? Okay, so we're in here. Hurricane Laura is expected to touch down. It looks like it's going to avoid Puerto Rico, but it's going to run its way up and around here. We're going to go through a little bit of Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and eventually it's going to work its way back over to the ocean here through Kentucky, Wyoming. So this is Thursday through Saturday this week that we're expecting this to hit and touch down. Now, traditionally what happens is you're going to see initial prep. So you're going to see things like Walmart, Costco. People are going to run out, get supplies, get the staples, be able to just kind of bunker down and stay inside, right? Expect memberships to go up on things like Disney Plus, Netflix. Anybody that hasn't necessarily renewed those might choose to renew those now. Following, there's going to be damage. There's always damage, and so expect companies like Rona, Home Depot to do really well. And so one single disaster here presents the opportunity for multiple businesses to actually get a boost in sales. And so what you need to be doing is going, okay, well, where can I take a look at those plays? Like where is Home Depot right now? So this would probably be more of an options play than an equity play on Home Depot, but Home Depot is sitting at 287 right now. To take a long dated option into January for 300, is that, within the realm of possibility? Well, let's see. It's currently sitting at all-time highs. Yeah, all-time highs. So add on to it Hurricane Laura and whatever other natural disasters we get through the season here. And there's good opportunity for this to actually gain even further. I don't know that 300 would be crazy, maybe 290. You'd have to look at the options chain when the market opens, but that's exactly how you do a breakdown on this, where you're looking at this going, okay, well, here's the news, here's what I understand, here's what I can do with that play, right? So we can do another one here, iPhone 12. iPhone 12 Pro could get this killer feature, but now there's a catch, okay? So people are already excited about iPhone 12. So let's take a look at Apple. We know Apple had their split. That's up and coming. So maybe Apple's something you want to put on your watch list, right? So is Apple going to what was their split? 4-1? People are looking at Apple around 600. Um, so I probably wouldn't consider an options play till post split, but it's a 4-1 stock split. So mm. And the thing you got to consider with the split is, does the stock immediately soar post split or not? Okay. What else do we have here? BlackBerry. So this is one that I've been holding for a while here, guys. Does I don't know what the star does means. Um, BlackBerry teams up with Desay Automotive for safe driving. So for those of you guys that don't know, everybody remembers BlackBerry for their phones, right? The phones with the keyboards on them. Um, BlackBerry has been pulling back from hardware and working more focused in software for years now. And then there's actually millions of cars on the road. Any of the cars out there that have that kind of self-driving, assisted driving capacity, the ones that, kind of auto park for you or lane change or anything of that. Yeah, the comment did not appear. Weird. But yeah, they're in millions of cars, the self-driving stuff. Now, the Xpeng P7, it's an EV vehicle in China, similar to Neo or Tesla. But yeah, they're using BlackBerry technology now, which is great. BlackBerry continues to look like a really solid position. USO is the one that has some current litigation against it from the SEC. Um, they're taking issue with how the fund is being done, but no, Apple stock does not disappear. So let's say you had $1,000 of shares in, oh, what is it? What is Apple at right now? Okay, so Apple's at $500. So let's say you have two shares, right? You have two shares of Apple at $1,000. Okay, so 500 apiece. You've got two shares. You've got $1,000 of Apple. Okay, it goes 4-1. Okay, now instead of you holding two shares at 500, you're gonna have eight shares, but still worth $1,000. So 125 apiece instead of 500 apiece. So the overall value of your investment remains the same. You just hold more shares. Now, what is the value and what is the risk to this? When a lower value company does a split like this, what could happen is the split happens. Now you hold more shares, and then the price actually depreciates from that initial point. It goes down. People go, I don't want to. I don't want to be a part of this. I don't think it's going to go back up. I'm out. And it can decline from there. And so there's a lot of people that would wait until after a split to buy and wait and see which direction it's going to go in instead of buying before the split and getting in and having that split give you more shares. Now, for a company like Apple, you have to consider possibly another strategy in that you buy before the split, right? You buy it right now. Let's say you have $1,500 and you're looking to put it into Apple, and you go, okay, do I buy 3 shares of Apple now, or do I buy, 12 shares of Apple after? Well, if you think that Apple's going to go up immediately after the split, then you would buy before the split because you're going to already hold those. And the second that it opens up, now I think the date of record is passed on Apple, but you could have done this. You could have purchased these stocks ahead of time, and then you'll be able to have those stocks already in hand. And as it takes off, if it heads back up towards 500, now you've got 12 stocks that are heading back up towards 500. Um, this is just an opportunity for new investment money to come into Apple, which is a pretty smart play. Um, So yeah, that would be Apple. Taking a look at Apple based off the iPhone 12, the stock split's coming. So it looks like there's positive growth. It may be worth it to actually get in before the stock split. Zoom outage. So you could see a decline on Zoom on this, that they're unable to stay stable. So looking at plays against Zoom, either short sells or puts against Zoom could be a possible play. 2K21, I can't remember who produces 2K. Not a huge play there, so I probably wouldn't do anything on that. All right. Let's see what else is going on out there right now. Want to check and see if there was any insider buying. All right. So what I'm looking at here is actually insider purchasing, guys. So uh, people that are directors, executives, they're allowed to purchase stocks of their companies as long as they abide by certain rules. What this report on tip ranks does is it breaks down for you which companies have done that and when. So this has been trending since yesterday. A director purchased $400,000 of shares 4 days ago. Um, Typically, I'm looking for purchases of closer to 1 million. If $1 million gets dropped on something, that's of note to me. Yeah, here's one. So $2.12 million in shares yesterday. Inovia. Last news we have on Inovia is a market offering that caused the stock to decline significantly. What we're looking at here is their last earnings update. Okay, so they have a purchase agreement with typically, yes. Typically, when you see a large purchase like that, you would see the stock have an increase over the following 2 to 3 weeks, especially a large purchase like this. Now, what I'm reading here is about when was their earnings call here? This is an earnings call from August 12th, so 2 weeks ago. And he's breaking down. They're breaking down that there's a company in China that they have a deal with to sell their drugs for them, which is kind of a huge deal. And they're throwing out numbers like 40, $50 million orders on existing drugs. They also are talking about a phase 3 trial that they're looking to start by the end of the year. That's also good news for low cost bio stock. So How's it going? I cannot pronounce that name. Um, my ability to read kanji is not up to snuff, but welcome over on YouTube, guys. This is what I love about Restream here is that you can actually have these. Hi, Joe Biden. That's how you pronounce that. How's it going, Joe? Um, yeah. So this is what I love about Restream, guys, where you can have people from Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all in the same chat. Everybody can be talking and conversing. Absolutely love Restream for that. WPRT, yep. Yep. WPRT is one I'm watching as well. That's one that I've been in for a little while now. Just gonna let me open up a separate tab here. So WPRT is just a waiting game on Westport Fuels. This is one that I've had a position in since $1.60. I think is my cost average on it. Might actually be less than that, but I think it's around $1.60 I got in. We're currently at $1.81 right now. The big thing with Westport Fuels, guys, is they have an agreement with Weihai in China to work on their diesel trucks to convert them to natural gas. They're just waiting for a seal of approval from the environmental board in China. All the paperwork's filed, everything's there. It just needs a stamp on it. So as soon as we see the stamp, this is likely to go up fairly well. They do also do hydrogen. Yeah. Yeah, but they're the major news that I've been watching them on is the conversion to natural gas with Weihai. That's their big deal. They've got all kinds of deals that have kind of exploded for them over the last little bit here. Where they had one in Egypt, they had one in Algeria. Um, they've received some new funding, so there's a lot that I like about WPRT. I'm playing these guys into December, or at least until I hear of approval from China. Now, with China trade looking like it's going better, or at least going the same, it's not worsening, and there's not more division heading into the election. Um, it looks like this will continue to be a pretty strong play up into and through the elections that are coming up. So we'll wait and see on how that's going. Back to Inovia here. I like that. I like that you had an in and an out. So this is a big issue that a lot of these bio are having right now is there's a lot of companies that want to move ahead with their trials, but they can't find the bodies. People are unwilling to come out. People are unwilling to join into these medical tests, and as a result, what we're seeing is um, we're seeing what usually are pretty easy numbers to get for these medical tests of 10,000 to 20,000 to 30,000 people. We aren't being able to fill them right now, and this is causing all of these phase 3 trials to be delayed further and further and further and further. That's really jamming up the pipeline, especially on these smaller bio companies that need these next iterations. They need these phase two trials, phase 3 trials to be able to move ahead and get going. It's kind of rough for them, but I would never short a penny stock just because OTC makes it difficult to fill one way or the other. But if you're talking about low float stocks, you're not talking OTC. You're talking anything sub $5, right? You're talking those $5 or less stocks. Take shorts against them. I mean, that can always be a risky game. Playing shorts against bio, make sure that you've got a very solid stop loss. Which site was the insider trading on? That's a tool called TipRanks. Yeah, the tool's called TipRanks. My public portfolio is there for you guys to see. I keep that public for everybody to be able to watch and see what's going on and what I'm doing. But there's other tools that are on there that you can use. Yeah, I started using tip ranks in May, guys. So explained this a little bit earlier, but I'll give you the quick once over. So this is a portfolio that I built in January. When you join tip ranks and you put your portfolio public for people to see, you have to put it all in at once. And unfortunately, when you enter everything in at once, it shows it as a massive loss. It's not actually a massive loss. My portfolio for the year is up around, well, I started at $3,000 in January. We're up around 30,000 right now. So it's about 10 times what I started with. So the following months are more indicative of what actually this portfolio is doing. So we had a sideways month in June. It just went completely sideways. And then July, I beat the best performing tip ranks portfolios, the averages, and the S&P. This month again, I'm ahead of the average tip ranks, best performing tip ranks, and the S&P. So currently outperforming just about everybody with this portfolio. I need to grab some water here, guys, real quick, so I will be back momentarily. I'm going to leave you with an ad from our sponsor. And enjoy. All right, and we're back. Okay, so Inovia is something that I will keep on my dashboard then as a watch. What else do we have here? ONCS. So this is another big one here, guys. ONCS. So the CEO purchased 13,000, but 4 days ago, a Chinese pharmaceutical holding company bought 7.8 million. $7.8 million worth of shares on this. Yeah, they had an offering, but that's since closed. That was 4 days ago, so that would have been Friday, Thursday. I did, yeah. I sold my ACRX holdings on my US margin in order to free up capital into, can't remember. I increased my position somewhere else. I guess I could probably go here and look up recent activity. Yeah, ETM. Yeah. So I took a profit. So guys, I have a Canadian margin account and a US margin account. My Canadian margin is locked in on ACRX. That's got about 15 grand of ACRX in it. I did have 1,200 shares of ACRX in my US margin. I closed those at a profit and then moved it into ETM, which is a radio company that did pop up on this list in regards to insider buying. Let me open that up. Go here, ETM. Okay, so these analysts, there's no new analysis on it. Insiders, this is what I want. CEO and yeah, the CEO over the last 2 weeks has purchased $250,000 worth of shares in this company. Typically seasonally what you see on this right now, it's looking bullish. People are saying it's going to underperform. The analysts have it at $2 at its highest. I just disagree, which I tend to do. I actually probably have a $5 price range on this, so into Q4. My reasoning for this is, let me just open up my charts and I'll show you guys. Um, I'm okay. I trade usually 6 to 18 months out anyway. My plays are less about being on the day and more about being on the quarter or 2 quarters out. I'm not a day trader by trait. Um, Now, that being said, I have constantly cycling plays, and if I do see potential in one play over another, I might actually pull out of current positions just because I see gains being possible. Okay, so what we have here, guys, is let's go to a 5-year chart. And I want to go to a 5-year chart because it'll take us back to the past election, right? So the last election was what, September, October of 2017? Is that right? Trump election date 2016. November 2016. Okay, so November 2016. So let's go back here. This is 2016. Here's November. Okay, so as you guys will see, here is oh, this is KMDA. Make sure it's the right stock. Okay, here's ETM 2016. Let's put this down here. So what you guys are going to see here is here's January. Here's around, where are we right now? We're mid-August, right? So mid-August, stock was around 13 bucks. There's a little bit of a decline into September. But then as we head into election, spending increases on ad spend across radio and podcasts. So what we saw was from 13.50 up to 14.75, gained about $1 a share. Not quite 10%, but it gained a little bit. Then we see a decline overall, heads back in through the year. We are looking at, again, so here's August. It's around the 10.30 mark. And then you hold into that November, December area. By November, it's up to 11 bucks. So again, you're moving from, 9 here to 11 here. It's about $2 a share on that. And again, you go through the year again. And I'm not looking at a successful company as far as finances go, but as far as entering a position and holding into Q4. Now, this year here, it did not do what it had done 2 years prior. We did not see a buy up into 2019. We actually saw another decline. So this year would have been, if I had entered at 740, November hits, I would have got out at 762. You still would have gained 10 cents a share. It wouldn't have been a huge win for you, but it also wouldn't have been a loss. So not terrible. Moving forward, 2019, there's August. So you'd be entering in around that 350, 360 mark. And then by November, you're back up to that 473. So now we're looking at 25% gains, right? Because we're down, because the stock has come down so much, we're still seeing that dollar gain into the end of the year, but it's off of a $3 stock now. So a dollar gain on a $3 stock, just based off of your volume, you're going to see, a 30%, 25% gain. That's of note. And then here's this year here. A lot of their income comes directly from sports broadcasting. So they do rebroadcasts and play-by-plays on sports. They have transitioned into podcasts. There's a lot of investment into that too. So when a company invests or tries to shift into a new market, that comes with a cost. So you pair the two of those together, where you've got COVID paired with no sports, paired with investment into the podcasting platform that they have built, and what you have is a major decline. Right. Now the NBA playoffs are going. The NHL playoffs are going. We're looking at the NFL coming back. UFC continues to go. So what we're looking at here, guys, is they've not yet recovered from COVID. The stock is now down around that $1.60 mark. So what happens now is as ad dollars come back over the next quarter, we can expect to see something similar. Now, my thoughts are that at worst, this goes up $1 again, right? If this goes up to 260, but $1 on a $1.60 stock is not bad. You're gonna not quite double your money, but pretty close. My thoughts on this, though, are it's actually going to go beyond that. What we're going to see is election spending on ad dollars. We're going to see sports spending on ad dollars. We're going to see all of that pile up very nicely heading into Q4. And I think this could actually come back up to around that $4 or $5 mark. So you could look to, for me, I'm looking to potentially quadruple, if not triple, what I have in this. So that's why I made the shift out of ACRX into ETM. So I got about 2,500 in there. If it could go triple, that would be great. I'd be happy with that return. But we'll see how she plays out. Still waiting on the NYSE listing for CYDY. So we'll see how that goes. I'm willing to let that ride for another month before we see what's going on. But yeah, there's the thought process, at least behind ETM, guys. Let's take a look at FRO. Apparently it's running. Good morning, by the way, Saki. FRO. FRO to the moon. It's only up 1%. What are you talking about? I don't know if you're saying you're gonna you see FRO going to the moon. Yeah, that is. I only see it up 1% here. Equity offering is the loss that we've got. Tankers, crude tankers. Yeah. Um, Thoughts on looking at entries on airlines and cruise lines. Okay, so personally, guys, I don't see a recovery on airlines and cruise lines into 2022. For me, I might look at an entry in the lull season, so spring of next year. Uh, oh, uh, yeah, I'll never know what the Norwegian exchange is. Um, I'm not gonna start tracking multiple exchanges, but that's good that it's up over there. It's not up over here. Um, my thoughts on airlines. If I was to look at airlines, it probably wouldn't be until spring, April or May of 2021. And if I did, the companies I would take a look at would be American Airlines. Um, and I would take a look at RCL. Those would be the two that I would be most interested in. RCL would probably be a options play. AAL is probably something I would play in equity. Um, I'm not. Let's see. I am not. When it comes to the travel stocks, guys, even if we do get a vaccine, people are still going to be hesitant to get back on these boats and back on these planes. The other thing that airlines need to take into account is a lot of these companies are saying that they are now open to telecommute and remote office that they weren't before. They weren't. Um, so the ability now for you to work from anywhere in the world is going to cut back drastically on business flights. And as that happens, airlines are going to have to restructure themselves to make flights more appealing, which means typically the cost has to come down. Perks aren't really going to get people to fly again, but the cost has to come down insignificantly. And when the cost comes down, they have to find ways to make that up somewhere else, and either that's by cutting flights, that's by cutting staff, that's by cutting purchasing, and that has a ripple effect as well. So I don't know that we ever see the industry recover to quite the level it was, but the recovery that we're going to see, I think we see happen into the summer or into Q4 of 21. So Q3, Q4, 2021, in which case I'd probably look at getting in the spring of next year. That's just me personally. I know there's people that think the bounce back on that airline industry is going to be much faster, and power to them for that. But I'm going to agree to disagree on that. ARNC is better than airline stocks. Let's take a look at this. Okay, Arconic. Aluminum sheets, plates, architectural products in the U.S., Hungary, Russia, China, France. Operates through three segments: rolled products, extrusions, building, and construction systems. Okay, so construction, aerospace. Let's check out their earnings call. Um, so they've got 250 million cash in hand to weather the storm on this thing. So they're down 40% in Q2. At a net loss of 92 million a quarter. So with only 250 million, they can only weather the storm for 3 quarters. Don't care about adjusted EBITDA. What's their forecast? They're sitting on a net debt of 700 mil. Watch it in May, but it's over. 22 was the limit. Okay. So back in May, 6 months. $8 back up to 22. That's not bad. It's a decent gain. I think this looks to come back down again too. I think there's opportunity for this to come down for sure. Interesting though. Okay, here's the top 25 Wall Street analysts. What I like about this is that you can, instead of having it all sectors, you can break it down by sector. So for healthcare, the sector that I operate in, these are the people that are worth listening to. I have the top 3 followed here. Should probably follow the top 10 at least. So these guys are seeing a similar success rate to what I've got. The top 10 here at least. My average return is lower, but my success rate is higher. Yeah, I'm comparable to some of these. We'll see by the end of the year, though. Okay, what else do we have here? So ONCS looks good. That's a large investment, 7.8 million. I really do want to see things up in the millions on this. So 9.8 million from the director on this one. So that's Kodak. $2 million HPTO 5 days ago. Hop 2. Okay, based in New Hampshire. Virtualization software for the cloud. Quarterly report. They increased their assets year over year. Liabilities were pretty much level. Gross profit is up. I like what I'm seeing here so far. So earlier in the week, we were looking at, when did they make this purchase? Hop to 5 days ago. So over the 5 days, it's gone from 50 to 57, so not bad. But I feel like that level of investment. Now, this is OTC for sure. But a CEO dropping $2 million into this is sizable. All right, so that's definitely worth taking note. There's about $1 million. BBQ. I like T-Mobile. I'm a big fan of T-Mobile, and I have been for a while. I played them into their merger and made a decent gain on that. But yeah, T-Mobile is where I really like to sit and hold position. Here's some significant buying. Avis. That's that director of that investment management company has put $14 million into Avis. I think that would be more of an options play for me, but even still, what was Car at before? $50. Interesting. UMRX 1.14 million. So oncology cancer is their bag. Let's check out their pipeline. UNUM. All right, guys, I am just going to take a quick washroom break here. I will be right back. Okay. So let's take a look at their pipeline here. Okay, so they only have one drug in their pipeline right now, which is a bit of a warning sign for me. Let's check the bio calendar on this. Um, Yeah, UNUM does not show up on the bio calendar anytime soon, so I'm not a huge fan of that. I think I'd let that one slide. But the phase 3 is coming up on this bio calendar. If you guys are interested in trading the biopharma industry at all, this website is worth its weight in gold. I highly recommend that you check this out, guys. How's it going, Nabu? Phase 3. So AstraZeneca phase 3 trial data should be dropping soon. No, from the Dow Jones, that doesn't matter. Dow Jones is largely a commodities exchange. For a pharma company not to be on the commodities exchange isn't a big deal. Yeah, I'm not looking specifically at COVID, but I could definitely take a look at blue. All right. Let's go here. Let's go this. Oh, BLU. Bellis Health. So what are your thoughts on BLU here, Nabu? What is it that you like about it or don't like about it? This is the risk on these penny stocks. Sub $5 bio, guys. You have negative results and it does this. It'll crash 80%. So July, it crashed like a beast. Look at that. So there's not much more room for this to go down, Nabu. I assume that you like this to the upside. What is it that you're seeing here that I agree. They flunked their last trial phase. Um which that decline is warranted. Because a small company like this is probably their only drug in the pipeline. So do you see them resubmitting with new data? Do you see it?
All right. I mean, this is so. I'm just going to give you my honest opinion here. I'm not looking to ever portfolio shame. That's not the thing that I do. My honest opinion on BLU here is I see a company that had a solo pipeline drug that looked like it was really solid. It flunked its study. To take that study and kind of rehash it, refurbish it, and get it ready to go again, it's going to take them another 6 months to a year. So that means that you're probably going to see biodegradation, share offerings, things of that nature. As a result, what's going to happen is you're going to see the stock continue to decline for a little bit. Now, the other issue that I've got is the companies that they are looking to go up against here and take market share from on this drug are Merck, Bayer, and Shionogi. All three of these are powerhouse companies. They would have to have something crazy. Uh, yeah, these low float biostocks are kind of where I make my bread and butter. So for me, what I'm seeing here is uh they have a single, well, I mean, let's go to their site. Let's go to their website before I say that. Let's go to their website. Balance Therapeutics pipeline. Yeah, it's a single drug and they're Quebec based. They're not even US based. I This has a lot of warning signs on it. Is all I'm gonna say. Um, Cash reserve, their finances, all of that's just biodegradation. That money will burn and churn. Their phase two trial fell short. The company also expects to initiate a phase two trial in the fourth quarter. So they're going to start a trial, phase two trial in the fourth quarter, but they needed this to go through. So they're starting two trials in Q4. That could be some positive news, but it may give it a little bit of a pump. But I don't see it running on that. They need results. That drop from $12 is warranted. Back from a car wash. Back from a car wash. All in cars. Okay, what else do we have going on here? Coming down the pipeline. Phase 3 data, September 23rd through the 25th on GLYC. This is due any day now, ACST. Things are pretty good, man. Things are pretty good. See what people are saying about ACST. Yeah, the Q4 news is going to be pretty solid because it's just an announcement that they're starting the trials. There's not going to be any data from that. It's just we are starting trials, so it might get a little pump up, but be sure to watch that very closely because if it does get a pump up with this company knowing that it has no money coming in for the next year and a half, there's a very good chance that you'll see an offering follow on the tail end of that news. Okay, so this actually has a pretty crazy potential upside. Hmm. I might consider exiting. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? I don't want to put a ton in there, but I do want to put something in there, I think. Mhm. Maybe I exit. Yeah, maybe I exit some of my WPRT position to get into this. So what does the calendar say? ACST. On or about August 31st. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so oof, tough. So this is one that's kind of just a coin toss at this point, on what this data looks like. Costy. No insider buying. Analysts have this thing priced high. Nobody's on a sell on this thing. Everybody is a buy on it. Some have it as high as $7, and this is as of 11 days ago. Tough choices, tough choices. I don't know if I'm bullish or not yet. I'm having a hard time coming to a determination on this. So this one here is an extremely low cost stock. They're expecting their phase 3 trilogy 2 data August 31st or around that. So that means any day now. So this wouldn't be a long hold. This would be probably closer to a week. Um, Now, the only thing normally I would take a look at that and go, okay, well, phase 2 trial data, 69 cents. Go take a look at what the general sentiment is. General sentiment on this is it's dog crap. If we look at the performance over the last 6 months, 75 down to 69. It's not at all-time lows, but it's definitely not killing it. Year ago, it was up at 250. So then from there, it'd be like, okay, so this has fallen quite far. January had poor results, and that's what caused this dump from $2. So that's where it could potentially go back up to. So there's a chance to double up on this in the next couple of days if it does what it's supposed to do. If the trial results are on this are bad, anything that you put into this would be gone overnight. It would just disappear, right? So I think what I'm looking at here, and I mean, normally that means that this is a coin toss. You just flip in the air. What do you think? Which isn't really solid investing. The only thing that's making me really question myself here is we have 5 analysts on this thing. All of them are bullish. There's no bears on this. They are all bullish. The low end has a 53% upside to it from 2 months ago. The high side is a 900% upside that was reiterated 11 days ago. We have two that were reiterated 11 days ago from fairly well performing analysts that have this up at a $3 and a $7 range. Now, 7 is quite optimistic, but seeing these three here coming in at an average around $4 or $5, for me, this looks like a solid opportunity that I could enter and be out next week. Now, I don't know that I want to exit my entire WPRT position in order to get into this, but I definitely think I want to exit a portion of it and maybe put call it 500 in there, maybe. Yeah, maybe it. Oh, these guys are the ones that are killing me here because that's what's expected. They're expected to drop their earnings or their phase 3 trial data on the 31st or around the 31st. So that would be next Monday. And if those are positive results, I expect this thing to run like crazy. But the issue is it's over the weekend, right? So the news is probably going to drop first thing in the morning on the 31st. Pre-market will already have the run up and you'll have missed the opportunity. So I have to make a decision. Making a decision today is not a bad idea, actually. I think if I pull the trigger on it today, at the very least, you could get the buy up into the hype. If it doesn't perform, try to get out pre-market. If it does perform, ride it out until you double triple whatever cash you've got in it. Yeah, I am tempted to exit MFA actually instead of WPRT. I would take a small loss on MFA, but it would provide me more capital to do what I want to do here. And we'll have to think about that one a little bit more, I think. Okay, so phase 3 from OTLK is due. Now we're into phase 2. No, this phase 2's interest me. All right, what else are we watching today? Let's see what else is moving pre-market. Do we have the same list here, or did this shift up? Shifted up quite a bit. So Ocugen's up. Urban One is up. Now, Urban One, guys, this has been a pump and dump over and over and over. So be very, very careful if you're looking at this one. This is a media company. It's very similar to ETM. We'll go the last 6 months. So yeah, you'll see here's this initial pump, and then it fell, and then it rose, and then it fell, and then it rose, and then it fell. This was during BLM, and there was a lot of conjecture that because this was an urban media, or this was a media company that was targeting primarily African Americans, that there was going to be a large boom in the sector of black programming. And as a result, it had a massive spike and decline and a spike and a decline, and now it's slowly degraded back down to where it was. It looks like it's running again pre-market here. It's up to $5 from $4. I don't know if we get a nutty day back up to this again, but it seems like whenever we get news of a fresh BLM case, which is obviously the Wisconsin thing, I'm not sure what the current state of that is, but what do you think of Ryman Hospitalities? RHP. Let me take a look. What are your thoughts on it, Bo? Let me know what you think about this. I'd be interested to hear your thought process because that's going to help me figure out what I'm looking at here. Are you bearish? Are you bullish? What do you like? What don't you like? Okay, specialized in upscale convention center resorts, country music, entertainment experiences. 5 of the top 10 largest non-gaming convention centers. That's okay. Being new isn't bad, but you want to get that thought process. And that's why I asked this question of what do you think about it first? Because I want to hear what kind of thought process you've gone through with this already instead of just like, oh, well, here's the stock. Okay, so country music properties. Yep. Okay, so you like the dividend on it? So you're looking to buy this and hold this for a while then? Uh, dividend 7%. It's not huge. It's pretty good though. It's a decent dividend. I'll give you that. You have 2 shares already. Okay. So okay. Okay, I get the gist of it. So professionally, guys, I am a digital marketing consultant. I work as a public speaker as well. You see all these tags back here. Those are all the conferences I spoke in the last year before COVID. So when I speak to conferences and events, I'm not speaking completely blind on them. That industry is hurting in a big way. So for these guys to own the top 10 largest non-gaming convention center hotels in the US, yeah, they're going to take a hit. These guys are going to take a hit. Let's see how big the hit is. So they were up around 80. So they've actually taken a pretty solid hit on this. I'll say this. The play on this is going to come down to bow and arrow whether or not you think there's going to be a resurgence in COVID into the fall. And a lot of plays heading into the fall have that there for them. Do you think we see a second wave of COVID heading into flu season or not? If we do, expect there to be a lockdown on convention centers, and this will continue to decline. Probably expected to go back down to around this $14, $15. Okay. Now, in the event that you don't think there's going to be a resurgence, then you're probably pretty solid on this, and you can expect to see a slow gain up. I think it'll take them 2 or 3 years to get back up to the numbers they were at. But that being said, you're not in a terrible place right now on it. So their last divvy date was a quarterly dividend paid out in April of 95 cents, which gave it a 7.3. It looks like they issued a dividend that appeared to be higher because they released their regular dividend. They would have released normally, but on the decline from COVID. So that's why it's up a little bit. The average yield for the year is quite high, but it's still only 7% over 12 months. So their TTM, the trailing 12 months, this is the average dividend over that. So over the 4 quarters is still only 7. I don't see a 10.4 number here anywhere. Yeah, I think it really comes down to that. It's really going to come down to whether or not you think there's going to be a second wave of COVID. Um, After COVID is done, it's not going to spike right back up because that whole industry of conventions and conferences takes time to get going again. So expect it to have a slow increase back up, but yeah, not an immediate bounce back. It won't be an overnight bounce back for sure. Okay, so the optimism on US China is lifting European, so that should be good for our market pre-market. Always having problems in India now because of the border dispute. Companies are moving out of Huawei. I wanted time to hear. I'm just gonna grab some more guys. I'll be right back. 2 seconds. Okay, so Mm, this county's actually looking pretty nice. This Ericsson. So go here. Okay, so we have Canadian banks reporting. Bank of Montreal beats. Bank of Nova Scotia misses. Not seeing any of the crazy runners up there. So September 22nd is going to be a big day here for Tesla, guys. It's battery day. This has been pushed back several times, but it's looking like they've improved battery life by 50%, which is notable. It's a sizable gain. Interesting. Yeah, so that'll be a big day to mark in your calendar if you guys like Tesla. Uh, Markets, new market. Urban One, VIVE, Ocugen, Vivo Power, Diffusion Pharma. Let's see what's going on over on UONE. On. So everybody's confused as to why this is pumping, guys. I would say that this is probably the Jacob Black case again. Yeah, it's up 44% pre-market. So this is one, guys, that it looks like to the upside. I don't know that I would be chasing this. To the downside, there may be potential for a play if you can get a short in. But this is of note. If you guys trade stocks on events, anytime that there's one of these police shootings or BLM movements, typically stocks like DGLY do well, Smith and Wesson does well. What's the other one? Well, Urban One.
There's another weapons company that does well during these. But typically during those beyond movements, protests, or police shootings, you see gun sales go up where people are buying to defend themselves from the insanity that's about to ensue. DGLY goes up, their body cameras and non-lethal enforcement for police officers. And Urban One is going up as a support black business in the US. So Black Lives Matter, Black Business Matters. This goes up as a result. So that's a thought process on this. That's not locked in stone, but typically what we've seen on this is if you one. So yeah, these massive spikes up to over $30 were as a result of the initial uh, Floyd incident and subsequent shootings that led all the way up to almost a $40 gain, and then a decline back down to kind of where they are now. We're seeing another run this morning, $4.15, $5. It's not. I mean, we're not talking an insane run here where it's up to $40 again, but it has had days. So this one was 6.12. It was $1.84. And then 6.16. It was $27. So there was massive opportunity there for sure. For sure. Um, this is the one that hurt real bad. So this company who'd been holding this forever had 4 million shares and they sold them the week before it spiked like this at 76 cents a share. It went up to $34. They could have had 4 million shares at $34. Just oops. Yeah, definitely a not like this moment. Based out of the Grand Caymans. Parent company is Bridge Capital. Brigade Capital. The shoddy site that they've got going on there. Hate that it keeps doing that. Stop closing two windows. Stop it. Okay, LinkedIn. Brigade Capital. Seems to be thinking really hard here. There. Okay. Um. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Unfortunate. But you can't win them all for sure. All right, so what's going on with this? News on second night protests. Jacob Blake is in stable condition, so that's good. He's stable. So National Guard's been deployed. 125 members have been deployed in the small town of Kenosha. Protesters tried to force their way into Kenosha's public safety building, demanding that the officers involved in the shooting be arrested. Doors broken up its hinges before officers in riot gear used pepper spray to disperse them. Police headquarters was marched on. How's it going, Shervin? Um, hmm, 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 hmm. What am I doing right now? We were doing breakdown analysis of a whole bunch of different stocks. What we are looking at is right now, Urban One is running up like a maniac. Typically, in the past 6 months, it's done that on news of Black Lives Matter protests as well as black shootings in the States. So Jacob Black is the latest. I'm just reading to get an update as to what is going on there. Apparently, he did not die. He is in critical condition, or he's in stable condition now. He was in critical condition. Laws are being passed, so DGLY might be another play today. Okay, before the filming took place, so I don't know if you guys saw the footage of this, but on Twitter, there was footage shot from a camera across the street. You just see a guy walking around the car. Police officers grab him by the shirt, shoot him in the back. That's where this issue is arising. Apparently, before that video started, the police did wrestle him to the ground and they tried to taser him. It didn't do anything. Police officers have been responding to a domestic incident. No details about what led to the shooting. They have not said how many officers were involved, and no names have been given. Police in Kenosha do not have body cameras, but they do have microphones. So expect to see that brought up. Apparently, the couple's 3 children were sitting in the back of the car and witnessed the shooting. Oh, that's awful. The officers are on administrative leave. All right, so there's no action on it other than no action on it other than they are currently on suspension. He's in stable condition, and he's left the hospital. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Okay, so that's the head of Liberty University. ACRX maintained a $7 price target, so that's good. Blackberry's still there. What's this? Dosing AZN. Westport Fuel, I can get rid of that. That's important to have up. All right, what else are we watching here, guys? We got a little bit to go here. Not a ton of new news coming in this morning. Couple of earnings here, though. Ant Group, this is big. This is Jack Ma's new thing. For those of you that don't know Jack Ma, you've been living under a rock for the last 10 years. The Alibaba guy. The Alibaba guy now has something called Ant Group, which was Ant Financial. They have officially filed for IPO. Current valuation is about $225 billion. Ant Group will be larger than some of America's biggest banks. So this is interesting. Jack Ma now owns one of the largest banks in the world. Very interesting. Okay, UONE's coming back down here. So it went all the way up to 44%, and now it's back down. The VIVE Medical is up. Why is this running? EIVE. Positive primary efficacy data from its SUI feasibility study. Positive preclinical outcomes that support the company's new sham tip for pivotal pursuit trial. Okay, so they showed data that shows that yes, technically it should work. This is not phase three results. This is not an FDA approval. This is just some pre-market data. So expect it to run on the day, but it will decline afterwards. Don't expect it to hold these 100% gains here. Ocugen is looking just pretty solid and sideways, so nothing that's super crazy. The VIVE would be the only thing that, excuse me, I would look at taking a potential short of some kind on here, guys. All right, I'm not seeing anything crazy in the news. I'm going to check my feed here. You guys aren't going to be able to see this. This is one of the apps that I use to get press releases and whatnot. Moleculin, I'll cross that out. Belacidin. So Belacidin was my pick on COVID. It's the drug that I think is going to be the big star player. Now it's not one of the major companies out there like AZN or Pfizer or yada yada yada. Take a pick, mRNA, Gilead. But the drug itself is a powerhouse, showing up to 95% efficacy against SARS-CoV-2. So okay, so they're making enough of the vaccine to not only do a phase 2 clinical trial, but also to be able to offer more. Am I still in Shill? I never entered Shill, um, or Shell. I do like it. Out of Westport's probably my favorite play in that industry, but Shell would be a close second, just because I can get better position on it. But when we first looked at Shell, it was down here in the 20s. Now it's up at 40s. You could have doubled up on that in the same period of time. Now that it's up at 40, though, I don't know that I like it. I'd say 50 is probably my top on it, until we actually see some sales come in. But yeah, that's that for sure. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else in these feeds that I have to be aware of. Tons of FDA approvals flowing in. A little bit of news for ACRX, not a ton. Orphan drug designations, I'm not going to break that down this morning. FA doesn't matter. GameStop is doing what it's doing. Solarius is something I'll look at later. OCGN is doing well. What's going on with Waiter these days? Okay, Waiter's potentially sideways. I'm going to be watching Waiter to dip back down, possibly via rebuy for me. Westport Fuel Systems, not much there. All right, guys, I don't see much else here. So 38, fantastic, man. I'm glad you took those wins. That's going to be it for me this morning, guys. There doesn't seem to be a ton else here for me to break down on the day. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. I do this every morning, 4:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to usually 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if this was helpful for you guys, make sure that you are following, subscribing, wherever you guys are, so you get notified when I go live. Hopefully this was helpful. I will do a rerun on Twitch for you guys, as well as making this available for search over on YouTube. So you'll be able to find both. Take it easy. Have an amazing day. Stay green out there, guys. And I will catch you tomorrow with another live stream. See you then.